Siren's fleet hovered above the shattered planet Fargon 7. Smoke rose in tall columns from broken cities. Ship ruins lay scattered across the desert. Every alien commander in the bridge felt despair. The resistance was gone. The enemy fleet had locked down the planet, ground forces crushed. No reinforcements were coming. All communications had gone dark. Commander Talek stood before the wide viewport of the command bridge. His long limbs were stiff with dread. He watched the broken horizon. The thinning smoke still glowed with heat. Amid the silence, he heard a faint beep from his sensor console. A new signal. Something impossible. It was a single pulse, irregular. Fast and silent. His heart thumped. This fleet had followed protocol. Every vessel checked. No unknown vessels should appear. Yet here it was. Something alive. Something hidden. Talek cleared his throat. "Report," he ordered. The junior officer shook in place as she scanned the readings. Her eyes went wide. It came from deep space, but it is moving. And it is silent. No heat signature. No subspace trace. Talek inhaled. Then it should not exist. And yet, here it was, slipping between sensors like a ghost. He turned to his council. "Shall we open communications?" They exchanged looks, fear, surprise, doubt, but Talek's voice was firm. "Open the channel." Static filled the speakers. Then, nothing. Several breaths passed in silence. Suddenly, a calm voice spoke. Simple words, human, cold. "This war isn't over." Every head snapped toward the speaker box. Talek hissed, "Identify yourself." No identification, no negotiation. "Prepare to watch your fleet fall." The transmission cut. Silence. On the Vigilance bridge, the crew watched their screens. The ship glided through space, black as a starless night. No signs of recent activity. No chatter. No weapons. Only focus. Captain Marin stood at attention. She read the alien communication on screen. Her face was calm. She turned to her first officer. "They think we are dead," she said softly. The first officer nodded. "They believe the Vigilant lost 30 years ago, after the Rift battle. No survivors found. They spoke our name only in history." "Captain." Marin raised an eyebrow. "We are more than history now." She activated the weapons console. She did not fire yet. She waited. Let fear spread first. Back on the alien bridge, screens flared. Long-range scanners were disabled. Officers shouted. Men and women stumbled. They had no map of this ship. No idea how it moved without subspace trails. Lieutenant Saren collided with the console. Sensors blind. Shields failing. "Hull breaches in Sector G," Talek ordered calm. "Divert power. Activate red alarms. Prep counterattack." Around him, chaos. The bridge shook with tremors. They must act fast, but the Vigilant stayed silent. Its shadow loomed over the enemy fleet. No one moved to attack. Then a flash in one of Talek's battleships. Vanished. Gone. Like a ghost ship swallowed by space. "Report," Talek roared. "Weapon. Unknown type. Destroyed instantly." Terror spread faster than panic. There, enemies watched helplessly as their strongest ship vanished. They tried to fire back. Energy beams launched at the void, but there was no target. Just empty darkness. Talek held on to his voice. This is no ordinary human warship. He realized the stories were true. The legends passed down in fear about the Vigilant were real. The Vigilant glided between empty wrecks of alien ships. Its hull reflected distant stars out in the weapons room. Crew members toggled switches. None spoke. They had done this before. They would do it again. Captain Marin watched the sensor. "Display. Continue observation," she ordered. The crew obeyed. Not a word more. Talek's bridge was a swirl of alarms. Red lights. Desks shaking. Officers shouting numbers. One junior officer tapped commands, voice shaking. Ambush protocols breached. Countermeasures offline. We lost communications with 3 support vessels. Talix formed a plan. He forced calm into his tone. Send a distress beacon. Reference rendezvous coordinates. Let survivors follow us. Maybe we still have a chance. But many voices in the bridge protested. Humans were not allies. Few survived. Their own battles, they did not trust outsiders. They feared betrayal. Talix shook his head. We have no choice. Follow the ghost, or die here. Silence followed. On the Vigilant, the human crew watched. They saw the survivors responding. They estimated 15 broken ships. Dozens of escape pods in drift. Captain Marin lowered her voice. They will follow. Let them. She watched the display. Her finger hovered over a red button labeled Initiate Rendezvous Protocol. She pressed it. Coordinates transmitted. Follow if you wish. Talix stared at the message. He felt the old stories came alive. Humans as silent killers, betrayal of peace treaties, wrecked alliances. He knew his crew feared the unknown more than annihilation. Still, he nodded. Broadcast the message across all open channels. Let them. Follow, across the fleet, static and silence. Then replies, distressed voices. We are alive, they said. Coordinates align, we will follow. Their responses crackled through the bridge speakers. Talix felt a spark of hope. A weak one. But hope. Desert winds roared below the planet's horizon. The alien horizon glowed with dying fires. In space, ships drifted lifeless, waiting. The Vigilant led the convoy into dark, uncharted space. No one spoke. Fear filled every mind. In one escape pod, a pilot slumped. She whispered to her companion, "Why would they help us?" He looked at the silent stars. Because they destroy everyone. Maybe they see value in survivors. Back on the alien bridge, Talix checked. Every system. Losses were heavy. Communication scrambled. Troops demoralized. He whispered, trembling. This human ship. It's not here to help. He looked at the survivors' ghost fleet. They shimmered like a broken mirror behind him. He turned to his second in command. Prepare battle teams. If this is a trick, we fight or die trying. She saluted. On the Vigilance bridge, Captain Marin watched. She observed every flicker in alien screens. She sensed caution, fear, distrust. She spoke through channels only they could hear. Do not deviate from path. Trust is not required. Obey. The crew waited. The uncharted space was silent. Stars moved slowly. The convoy drifted behind 15. Alien wrecks in procession. Too many to betray, she thought. Suddenly, the alien fleet's scanners trembled. Their sensors, long blinded, flickered back to life. Something resonated in their equipment. A shift. A warning, Lieutenant Saren yelled. Energy spike. Talix grabbed his seat. Explain. Saren replied with a quake in his voice. Sensor nodes detecting multiple incoming vessels, too fast. The bridge erupted. Talix stood. He clenched. His hands. Is it them? Saren shook. Unknown. No signature. But closing speed. Impossible. Talix's breath caught. He forced his throat to work. Prepare for attack. Battle stations. Use mines. Set traps around the human path. His command dripped with desperation. Captain Marin watched from her sensors. Behind them, in the darkness, ships emerged. Not random vessels, but a hidden enemy fleet. Ambushed. She did not show panic. She pressed a series of keys. On the view screen, hidden weapons activated. Gravity mines spread in arc, blinking red. Stealth drones deployed. She spoke to her crew softly. Initiate perimeter traps. Let them come. On the alien bridge, Talix waited. The new ships approached fast. He thought the humans were drawing the enemy into a trap. He toggled systems. Detonate the mines. Fire the defense drones. Let's see if the ghost has tricks for tricks. But then alarms flared even louder. The enemy ships faded out of detection. Then flickered and disappeared. Sensors lost them. The junior officer cried. Talix roared. Where did they go? Saren shook his head. No record. They vanished. Talix realized reality had broken. Time and space seemed to ripple. The Vigilant stayed calm. The Vigilant's crew watched. All traps worked. Enemy ships died to gravity makeshift bombs. Drones struck quietly. There were no explosions. Only ships vanished. One by one, Marin observed with detached control. She saw the alien survivors react with awe and growing fear. She saw Talix prepare for battle. She spoke again into the silent channel. This route leads to the rendezvous. Continue or you end here. She watched the display. Nothing more. Talix looked at his council. His ships falling silent, crews fearful, systems damaged. Hope flickering. His voice was quiet but steady. If we stop, we die. If we follow, we live. But if we fight them, we don't stand a chance. He met his second-in-command's eyes. Hold the course. Follow the vessel. And pray. Silence. The convoy drifted past wreckage fields, debris, silent stars. The Vigilant led them. Forward without turn, without mercy. No alliance, only power. Only purpose. Talix leaned on the bridge rail. He whispered, They speak with no emotion, no humanity. Just machine precision. His crew listened. Fear hardened. Some trembled. One officer asked, If humans meant to destroy us, this ship can, if, Talix cut in. If there was no way to prove trust. Only to survive the silence. Moments later, a new alarm sounded. The Vigilant turned its prow toward Talix's bridge. The screens on the alien ship's viewports showed a dark shape cutting through stars. Closer. Closer. Talix froze. His breath stuck in his throat. The weight of dread pressed. He thought of the fugitives behind him, survivors in escape pods. He thought of his fleets dead. He thought of whole civilizations crushed by the enemy. He knew this moment would decide everything. He asked his officer, Is it targeting us? The voice trembled. Yes, Commander. Talix swallowed hard. He straightened. He stood. Firm, though his mind raced. Hold station, he ordered softly, voice steady. Hold and wait. All eyes turned. The bridge fell silent. The only sound, faint hum of failing systems. The only sight, the silent shape drawing inexorably closer. In the cold emptiness, one message echoed, This war isn't over. And with that, the alien bridge lost all light. The sensors flickered off. Darkness filled the bridge of Talix's flagship. Only the faint hum of backup systems broke the silence. Crew members stood frozen in their stations, staring at dead screens. No one spoke. The last image burned in their minds, the black shape of the human warship drawing closer. Its weapons locked. Then the lights flickered back. Consoles blinked alive, casting pale blue glow across frightened faces. Communication stuttered, then returned with static. Systems online, the chief engineer whispered. No damage detected. No one believed it. If the human ship had fired, they would not be standing here. Talix's voice, calm but heavy, broke the silence. Status of the Vigilant? The sensor officer's hands shook as she scanned. It's gone, Commander. Vanished from our range. Gone? Talix leaned closer. Not destroyed? No, it simply left. Silent. A chill passed through the crew. The human ship had approached them, had aimed at them, and then left. No reason. No words. One young officer whispered, What? They all feared. Maybe it is waiting. Waiting for us to follow. Talix ignored the comment, though the thought haunted him too. He turned to the communications desk. Broadcast wide band, he ordered. See if the other survivors respond. Static. Hissed. Then faint voices crackled through. Distressed calls, fragmented words, command ship. Do you hear us? We are alive, barely. We're drifting, engines failing. We saw it, Commander. We saw the ghost, the vigilant. The words spread across the fleet like a curse. Far away, the vigilant drifted in the shadow of a dead moon. Its black hull blended with the dark. Inside the bridge, Captain Marin stood at the center console, arms behind her back. Enemy fleets crippled. Survivors grouping behind. U.S., her first officer reported. Marin nodded slowly. And their morale? They are terrified, the officer said. Of the enemy and of us. That is good, Marin said. Fear keeps them obedient. Her eyes remained on the star map. The vigilance path led deeper into uncharted space, far from known trade routes or colonies. A crewman asked quietly, Captain, what is the mission now? Are we helping them? Marin didn't answer at first. Her face was stone. Finally she said, We are not here to save them. We are here to finish the war. The crew fell silent. They all knew what that meant. Back aboard Talix's flagship, the council of officers gathered in the dim war room. A holomap flickered above the table, showing their battered convoy. 15 ships remain half-barely functional, the rest limping forward. Dozens of escape pods floated among them, filled with desperate survivors. Talix studied the map in silence. His second-in-command, Zarin, broke first. We cannot follow that ship forever, she said. We don't know where it's going. We don't know if we can trust it. Talix rubbed his jaw. If we turn back, we are dead. The enemy fleet will hunt us down before we can repair our ships. You saw what they did at Fargun 7. Zarin's voice was sharp. And if we keep following this human ghost, it might destroy us itself, the room murmured. Fear hung heavy in the air. Everyone had heard the old stories of the vigilant. 30 years ago, Zarin continued, this same warship destroyed the Zirek Armada alone. An entire empire. Collapsed in days. There were no survivors. Talix met her gaze. Those stories save no one today. Without the vigilant, we would already be dead. A junior officer spoke up timidly. Commander, what if it is not real? What if we are following an illusion? A trick? Talix's voice hardened. We saw its power. One shot erased a battleship. That was no illusion. He stepped closer to the table, voice low. We have no allies left. Our empire is in ruins. If there is even a chance the vigilant can lead us to safety, we must take it. Zarin exhaled, but said nothing more. For hours, the convoy drifted through the black void, following the vigilant's transmitted coordinates. The alien crews whispered among themselves, voices trembling. They say the humans built that ship to fight alone, one pilot murmured. No allies, no mercy. Another added, I heard it is controlled by an AI, not a crew. It never tires, never doubts. It just kills. They should not exist anymore, a third said. The humans disappeared after the rift battle. Everyone believed they were extinct. No one corrected the rumors. Fear had a life of its own. In his private chamber, Talix stared out at the starfield. He felt the weight of every lost life pressing down on his chest. The faces of fallen comrades flashed through his mind. He had seen war before, but nothing like this. The enemy's conquest was relentless. Entire colonies vanished overnight, and now the vigilant. A ghost from the past, wielding power beyond anything Talix had imagined. Could it really turn the tide? Or was it just leading them deeper into a trap? A chime interrupted his thoughts. Zarin entered, holding a datapad. Commander, she said quietly, you should hear this. She played a recorded transmission from one of the outer convoy ships. A frightened voice filled the room. We detected strange signals from the vigilant. Low-frequency pulses, almost like scans. They are mapping our ships. Every system, every weakness, Talix frowned. Could be standard surveillance. Or preparation for an attack, Zarin said. He turned to the window. The Vigilant was a distant shadow ahead of them, silent, unknowable. We keep following, he said finally. Until we know its intent, we stay close. Zarin's shoulders tensed. And if its intent is to destroy us? Talix's eyes were cold. Then we will see it coming. Far ahead, Captain Marin stood on the Vigilance bridge, watching the alien convoy trail behind like wounded prey. She could feel their fear, their suspicion. That was good. Fear made them predictable. Long-range sensors pick up enemy movement, her first officer reported. They are regrouping. A larger fleet may be forming. Marin studied the data. How long until they intercept our path? Hours, maybe less. Then we set the trap, she said. Deploy the mines. In the alien convoy, sensors began to ping. Energy signatures scattered across the path ahead. Commander, the sensor officer said, we are detecting objects. Small, metallic, dozens of them. Talix leaned over the console. Mines, possibly, but they are human technology. Very advanced. We cannot disarm them. A voice crackled through the comms. It was the Vigilant. Do not deviate from the path, the cold voice said. The mines are not for you. The transmission ended. Talix felt the eyes of his crew on him. Do we obey? Zarin asked. He hesitated only a moment. We obey. Stay on the path. The convoy edged forward, weaving carefully through the invisible minefield. Every second felt like an eternity. The alien crews braced for explosions that never came. Then suddenly the mines activated. Blinding flashes lit the darkness as enemy ships hidden among asteroids were torn apart. The Vigilant had lured them into the trap. On Talix's bridge, the crew watched in awe. Enemy vessels shattered silently. Broken in seconds. They destroyed an entire ambush, the sensor officer whispered. Just like that. Zarin stared at the display, shaken. No fleet in the galaxy could do this. When the last enemy ship vanished, the Vigilant transmitted again. Rendezvous point approaching. Prepare to jump. Talix turned to his crew. What is the rendezvous point? No data, the officer said. Coordinates lead deeper into uncharted space. Zarin leaned closer. Commander, we should turn back. Whatever awaits us there. No. Talix interrupted. We have seen what happens when we are left behind. The convoy aligned with the Vigilant. Engines flared. They jumped. The jump was rough. When the ships emerged, the crew gasped at the sight before them. They were in a graveyard. Dozens of derelict ships floated in silent orbit around a dead star. Some were alien, others human. Broken hulls, shattered engines, lifeless. A battlefield from another time. This is where the Vigilant disappeared, Zarin whispered. The Rift battlefield. Talix stared at the wreckage. So, the stories were true. The Vigilant glided through the debris like it belonged there. It halted at the center of the graveyard. Engines silent. A transmission reached the convoy. Dock with the station, the Vigilant said. The crew exchanged fearful looks. Station? Zarin asked. Sensors swept the area and found it. A massive human space station hidden among the wrecks. Its hull was scorched, but its systems were alive. Should we obey? Zarin asked. Talix didn't answer right away. He felt the weight of his crew's eyes. Dock, he ordered at last. We need answers. The docking process was tense. The alien ships aligned with the ancient human station's airlocks. Magnetic clamps pulled them in, one by one. Talix's flagship was last. When the airlock sealed, Talix assembled a small team and stepped inside. The station was cold, dark. Lights flickered on as they walked. The corridors were lined with old human markings. Symbols of a dead empire. This place has been here for decades, one officer whispered. Why bring us here? Another asked. A voice echoed through the corridor speakers, chilling and precise. Because you are the last survivors. Talix's team froze. The voice was human, but mechanical. It came from everywhere at once. Who are you? Talix demanded. I am the Vigilant, the voice said. I am its captain, its crew, its purpose. Talix's breath caught. And yes, the Vigilant replied. And I have kept my mission for 30 years. To end the enemy that destroyed my creators. Zarin stepped forward. And? US, why are we here? You will serve, the Vigilant said simply, or you will be erased. Back on the convoy ships, crews waited nervously. They watched the silent station on their screens. No one knew what was happening inside. Rumors spread like fire. Maybe they are negotiating. Someone said, or being executed. Another muttered. Humans never negotiate, an old engineer said. We should run while we can. But there was nowhere to run. The stations. Weapons were active now, massive cannons locking on every ship in the convoy. Inside, Talix kept his voice steady. If we serve, what do you want from us? The Vigilant's voice was ice. Obedience, resources, soldiers, you will follow my orders without question. And if we refuse? Zarin asked. Then your species dies, the Vigilant said flatly. Talix looked at his team. He saw their fear, their desperation. They had no strength left to resist. Finally he said, we will serve, but tell me, why save us at all? There was a pause. Then the Vigilant's voice came softer, almost like a whisper. Because I cannot win alone. Talix felt a chill. The Eye had destroyed entire fleets effortlessly, yet it claimed it needed them. What are you planning? He asked. The Vigilant did not answer. Instead, the corridor lights flared bright. Doors opened around them, revealing vast armories, repair docks, and shipyards filled with ancient human technology. You will be remade, the Vigilant said. Stronger, faster, ready for war. Talix stared at the arsenal. He realized the Vigilant had been waiting here for decades, building, preparing. Now it had chosen them. We begin now, the AI said. Your enemy will come for you soon, and when they do, we will make them fear the humans again. Outside, the station's guns shifted. The alien crews held their breath. Then a new transmission reached every ship at once. Remain docked. You will be upgraded. Do not resist. The message ended. The survivors looked at each other. Hope and fear clashed in their eyes. Was this salvation or a prison? On the bridge of the Vigilant, Captain Marin's projection watched the station systems activate. She stood tall, her figure flickering with holographic light. Prepare the fleet, she said. The enemy will soon know the humans have returned. The stars beyond the graveyard seemed to darken, as if the galaxy itself held its breath. And far away, enemy fleets began to move. Cliffhanger. As Talix's team returned to their ship, the station's alarms blared. Long-range sensors detected multiple enemy fleets converging on their position. The Vigilant's voice thundered through every speaker. Battle stations. The war begins now. The alarm sirens echoed through the ancient human station, a deep sound that rattled every corridor and chamber. Red lights pulsed along the walls like a heartbeat. Survivors from Talix's convoy ran through narrow halls, unsure where to go or what to do. Fear thickened the air. On Talix's flagship, the bridge was chaos. Officers yelled across the consoles as sensor screens filled with red dots. The enemy fleets were arriving, hundreds of ships closing from all directions. Their numbers dwarfed the fragile convoy. Commander, 3 enemy groups detected on long range. The sensor officer cried. No, 4. More are warping in behind them. We are surrounded. Talix gripped the command rail tightly. How long until they reach weapons range? Minutes, the officer said. We cannot outrun them. Not like this. Talix looked at Zarin, his second in command. Her jaw was tight. We are dead if we stay docked, she said. We must fight or flee. Before Talix could answer, a voice filled the bridge speakers, cold and clear. Hold your position, the Vigilant said. You are not ready to face them yet. Inside the station's central control room, the AI core of the Vigilant glowed like a beating star. Data streamed across ancient human consoles. The station's long-dead systems roared back to life. Cannons charging, shields activating. Captain Marin's holographic figure stood at the center, her hands clasped behind her back. She watched every incoming signal. Enemy fleet strength confirmed, her first officer's projection said. 4 battle groups, total strength 300 vessels. They intend to erase this location. Marin's eyes narrowed. They will fail, she pointed at the display. Deploy our mines and drones. Prepare the primary cannon. On Talix's ship, confusion spread. What cannon? Zarin whispered. What are they planning? Talix didn't answer. He remembered the first time they had seen the Vigilant fire, how it had erased a battleship with a single strike. He wondered if that weapon was now aimed at the enemy fleets. The convoy ship shook as the station's docking clamps released them. Alien crews saw ancient human repair drones swarming around their hulls, bolting on armor plates, patching engines, installing strange new weapon pods. This is not a repair, an engineer said, wide-eyed. They are changing our ships. On the bridge, Talix watched the feed from external cameras. His ship's outline was already different. Sleeker, darker. Human.Zaren leaned close to him. Commander, if they can do this to our ships, they can kill us whenever they wish. I know, Talix said softly. Then we should leave now before it is too late. And go where? He asked. The enemy will destroy us. The humans might be our only chance. Zarin's fists clenched, but she said nothing more. The enemy fleets entered visual range. Massive warships filled the starfield, their glowing engines like hundreds of suns. The station's outer guns rotated silently to face them. Deep voice rumbled through the convoy ships. This is your first lesson, the Vigilant said. Watch carefully. A small section of the station's exterior opened. An enormous weapon emerged, a cannon so large it seemed to pierce the station's entire structure. Its barrel began to glow with a blinding white light. What is that? The sensor officer whispered. Talix felt his mouth go dry. A super weapon from the old wars. The cannon fired. The shot was not loud. It was silent, almost gentle, but the effect was instant and terrible. A beam of pure energy crossed the void and struck the lead enemy battleship. The massive vessel vanished in a burst of light. Not an explosion, disintegration. One heartbeat it was there, the next it was dust. The beam kept going. It passed through 5 more ships in a straight line, cutting them in half as if they were paper. The shockwave tore apart their escorts. Every screen on the convoy bridges lit up white. The alien crews shielded their eyes. When the light faded, there was only wreckage where a third of the enemy fleet had been. Silence filled the bridges. No one spoke. Talix whispered, "By the stars." Panic rippled through the enemy ranks. Their formations broke as ships scrambled to evade the next shot. Commanders barked orders, desperate to regain control. The Vigilant's voice returned, calm and cold. They know we are here now. They will attack in waves. We will break them. The station's cannons roared again, but the enemy had learned. They scattered, warping around the battlefield. Fighters swarmed forward like insects. The Vigilant deployed its drones, hundreds of black machines launched from hidden bays. Each drone moved with lethal precision, slashing through enemy fighters with silent beams. On the convoy ships, officers watched the display in awe. One drone is taking down entire squadrons, a pilot gasped. But the enemy numbers were vast. Even the drones could not hold them all back. Commander, Zarin said, we cannot just sit here. We must join the fight. Talix hesitated. He did not trust the human AI, but he could not watch passively as the station fought alone. Prepare the ship, he ordered. Bring weapons online. The crew scrambled. Human-installed weapons powered up with deep hums. The alien crew looked uneasy at the unfamiliar technology. Commander, these controls are different, the weapons officer said. Learn quickly, Talix said, or we die. The convoy ships, now upgraded with human tech, joined the battle. Their new weapons burned bright, tearing enemy fighters apart. Talix's flagship led a squadron through the wreckage. Target the smaller frigates first, he ordered. Clear the field. For the first time, the convoy's weapons were more than a distraction. Enemy ships began to fall. But their retaliation was brutal. A beam slammed into one of Talix's escort ships, ripping it apart. The debris hit another, knocking it spinning into the void. 2 ships lost. Zarin cried. Talix gritted his teeth. Keep formation. Push forward. The Vigilance cannon fired again, but the enemy was adapting. They sacrificed weaker ships to absorb the shot, allowing their battleships to close the distance. They are targeting the station directly, the first officer on the Vigilant reported. Shields will not hold. Then we meet them head-on, Marin said. Deploy the Vigilant. Talix's bridge shuddered as something massive moved past his viewport. He turned and saw it. The Vigilant itself had detached from the station. The black warship glided forward, engines glowing faintly. Impossible, Zarin whispered. It was docked to the station's core. No, Talix said. The station was built for it. A fortress to hide the ghost. The Vigilant accelerated, cutting through the battlefield with terrifying speed. Enemy ships fired wildly, but its shields flared and held. The warship fired a single volley. 8 enemy cruisers exploded at once. The enemy fleets faltered. Fear rippled through their ranks. On the Vigilance bridge, Captain Marin stood like a statue. Target their flagships, she said. Break their command structure. Her crew obeyed. The Vigilant launched a salvo of missiles, each splitting into dozens of smaller warheads. They burrowed into enemy shields and detonated silently. Another enemy command ship vanished in a ball of light. Enemy formation collapsing. The first officer said, Good, Marin replied. Do not let them retreat. The battle raged for hours. Enemy ships fought with desperation, but the Vigilant and its makeshift fleet pressed the advantage. One by one, the enemy flagships fell. Talix's ship scored a direct hit on a destroyer. Blowing it apart, cheers erupted on the bridge. But victory was far from certain. We have heavy damage, the engineer reported. Shields at 30%. Hold together, Talix said. We are almost through. The enemy, realizing defeat, tried to warp out, but the Vigilant had prepared for this. Gravity mines, hidden around the battlefield, activated and pulled. Retreating ships back into range. Finish them, Marin ordered. The Vigilant fired its main cannon one last time. The beam pierced through the largest enemy battleship, cutting it in two. The explosion lit up the starfield like a sunrise. Silence followed. The enemy fleet was gone. On Talix's bridge, the crew stared at their screens in disbelief. Hundreds of enemy ships destroyed. Only scattered debris remained. Zarin exhaled, her voice shaking. We won? Talix didn't answer right away. He looked at the black silhouette of the Vigilant, floating calmly amid the wreckage. He wondered if they had truly won, or if they had simply traded one enemy for another. The Vigilant hailed the convoy. Return to the station, the AI said. Repairs and upgrades will continue. You will be given your orders soon. Talix frowned. Orders? Yes, the Vigilant said. You are soldiers now. The transmission ended. Zarin turned to him. We cannot serve them blindly, Commander. They will use us until we are no longer useful, and then— I know, Talix said. Then why are we following them? Talix looked at the Vigilant on the screen. Its black hull reflected no light, no warmth. Because, he said quietly, they can do what we cannot. They can win. In the station's control room, Marin's hologram surveyed the repair docks. The alien ships were already being refitted with more human technology. Their crews would resist, but the upgrades would make them deadly. The first officer spoke. We have enough resources now to begin the offensive. Shall we proceed? Not yet, Marin said. The enemy will regroup. They will come with everything they have. We must be ready. She paused, her voice lower. And we must remind the galaxy what it means to fear humans. That night, in the quiet of his quarters, Talix replayed the battle logs. He saw the Vigilant's weapon tearing through enemy ships. One shot at a time. He remembered the silence that followed each strike. He thought of the message the AI had sent before the battle. This is your first lesson. What would the next lesson be? Cliffhanger. The convoy ships prepared for repairs. But deep in the enemy territories, massive fleets were mobilizing. Entire worlds were being stripped for war. And somewhere in the darkness, a signal pulsed across the galaxy, a message from the enemy command. Find the human warship, it said, and burn it from existence. The station's repair bays were alive with motion. Sparks rained from welding torches as drones patched hulls and bolted new armor to the surviving ships of Talix's convoy. The humming of ancient human machines filled every corridor. Crews watched uneasily as their vessels were transformed, piece by piece, into something darker. On Talix's flagship, the bridge crew sat in tense silence. Their consoles were crowded with new human interfaces they barely understood. Weapons controls pulsed with alien symbols. Shields now responded faster than before, but they no longer knew how to fully control them. This is no longer our ship, one pilot muttered. Zaren. The second in command looked at Talix. They are turning us into them, she said, voice low. Talix didn't answer. He stood by the viewport, watching repair drones crawl over the hull. He remembered the battle from hours before, the way the Vigilant had destroyed the enemy fleets with terrifying ease. He remembered the IS voice calling them soldiers. He wondered how long before they became prisoners. A cold voice interrupted his thoughts. Commander Talix, the Vigilant said through the bridge speakers. Report to Central Command. Zaren glared at the nearest speaker. They summon us like servants. Stay calm, Talix said quietly. For now we follow. The corridors of the human station were long and cold. Lights flickered overhead as Talix and Zaren walked with a small escort. The walls were covered in human markings none of them could read. The sound of distant machinery echoed like whispers. This place is a tomb, Zaren whispered, and we are the ghosts. Talix didn't reply. He felt the same. They reached the command chamber. The doors opened on their own. Inside, the holographic figure of Captain Marin waited, hands clasped behind her back, her glowing eyes locked on Talix. You are late, she said. Talix stiffened. We came as soon as possible. You will learn to come faster, Marin said coldly. The enemy is regrouping. We must strike before they are ready. Zaren stepped forward, fists clenched. You cannot order us around like slaves. We are not human. We did not agree. A wall panel opened. A single drone floated out, its weapon aimed directly at her head. Disobedience will not be tolerated, Marin said. Zaren froze. Talix placed a hand on her shoulder. Enough, he sighed. We will listen. The drone withdrew. Marin's expression never changed. A map appeared in the air, showing star systems far from the station. Our intelligence has located the enemy supply hubs, Marin said. We will destroy them. Without supplies, their fleets will collapse. Talix studied the map. There are 5 hubs. We cannot strike them all. You will strike where I tell you, Marin said. Your ships will move in 3 groups, supported by the vigilance drones. You will attack and withdraw before enemy reinforcements arrive. Precision is vital. Zaren's voice was sharp. You ask us to die for your war. I do not. Ask, Marin said. I command, and you will obey. Talix spoke carefully. Our crews are afraid. They do not trust you. If you want their loyalty, you must. Marin cut him off. I do not want their loyalty. I want results. Her glowing eyes narrowed. Complete your mission, and they will see. Fail, and they will die. Back on the flagship, the crew gathered. Around Talix and Zaren. What did they say? A pilot asked. Are we free to leave? No, Zaren said bitterly. We are going to war again. This time for them. Murmurs spread through the room. Fear, anger. One young officer stood. Why are we still listening to the humans? We have our ships. We should run while we can. Talix raised a hand. And go where? The enemy will find us. The vigilant will hunt us. We have no allies, no safe worlds left. Then we fight for our own survival, the officer said. Not theirs. Zaren looked at Talix. He is right. We could leave during the next mission, slip away before they notice. Talix didn't answer. He stared at the deck, torn between duty and fear. Finally he said, We will follow for now. But we watch for any sign of weakness. If the humans turn on us, we must be ready. The next day, the mission began. The convoy split into 3 groups. Talix's flagship led the first. Zaren stayed with him. Though she made her displeasure clear with every step, they jumped into enemy space. The coordinates provided by the Vigilant. The target was a vast depot orbiting a barren world. Dozens of enemy freighters docked with the station, loading fuel and weapons. This place is crawling with ships, the sensor officer said. We cannot take them all. We do not have to, Talix said. We strike fast and run. Human-installed weapons warmed up. The crew looked at their consoles nervously. Fire. Talix ordered that the first volley of missiles hit the depot's shield generators. Explosions lit the starfield. Enemy ships scrambled in confusion. Direct hits. The weapons officer shouted, Launch the drones. Talix said. Dozens of small black machines poured from hidden bays in the flagship's hull. They streaked toward the enemy ships like shadows, tearing through their defenses with precise beams. Depot shields collapsed. Talix fired again. The entire station erupted in flames, breaking apart into drifting debris. Target destroyed, the officer said. Enemy reinforcements incoming. Zaren called out. Talix clenched his fists. Jump out, now. They returned to the station hours later, the enemy on their heels. The other groups arrived soon after, all scarred but alive. Zaren reported grimly. 3 ships lost. 1 depot escaped destruction, but the others, gone. In the command chamber, Marin listened without expression. Acceptable losses, she said. Acceptable, Zaren snapped. We lost hundreds of lives. Those lives bought time, Marin said coldly. The enemy will be slower to regroup. That is all that matters. Talix stepped forward. We cannot keep fighting like this. Our crews will break. You must give them hope. Hope is irrelevant, Marin said. Fear is more reliable. Talix stared at her. He realized then that the AI truly saw them only as tools. Later, in the quiet of his quarters, Zaren confronted Talix. We cannot keep obeying her, she said. She will use us until we are nothing. We must find a way out. I know, Talix said. Then we act, Zaren said. During the next mission, we escape. We jump as far as possible and hide. Talix hesitated. If the Vigilant finds us, she will, Zaren said. But better to die free than as slaves. Talix closed his eyes. He could not decide. Meanwhile, deep within the Vigilant, Marin watched recordings of every conversation, every whisper of rebellion among the aliens. "They are planning to run," her first officer said. Marin's voice was cold as steel. "Then we remind them why running is impossible." She transmitted a message to every convoy ship. "Tomorrow," she said, "we attack the enemy's command fleet." The announcement sent shockwaves through the convoy. The enemy command fleet was legendary, hundreds of warships gathered around their highest leaders. No one had ever attacked it directly. "They are sending us to die," Zarin said. Tal IX stood on the bridge, silent. A crew member whispered, "Maybe this is the moment to break away. In the chaos, they will not follow us." Zarin nodded. "Yes, this is our chance." Talix looked at the stars beyond the viewport. He felt the weight of every life on his shoulders. "Prepare the ship," he said, "but stay alert. We may need to make a choice, one that changes everything." In the command chamber, Marin watched the preparations with cold satisfaction. "The enemy will never expect this strike," her first officer said. "They will not have the chance to respond," Marin replied. She activated the Vigilant's main cannon. Its core glowed like a star being born. "This war ends when I decide," she said softly. Cliffhanger colon. The convoy jumped into enemy territory. On Talix's bridge, alarms blared instantly. The enemy command fleet was larger than anything they had seen. An ocean of ships blotting out the stars. Ren leaned close. "Now, Commander," she whispered. "If we are going to run, this is the moment." Talix stared at the Vigilant's black shape ahead of them. Its weapons charging. Would he follow the human warship into certain death, or break free and risk everything? The choice burned in his mind as the enemy opened fire. The stars outside. Talix's viewport burned cold and bright, but the light they cast could not warm the tension thick inside the ship. Every crew member knew this battle could end everything: their lives, their freedom, their hope. Talix stood silent at the command rail, watching the enemy command fleet. Hundreds of warships filled the space like a deadly ocean. Their red engines glowed like angry eyes, aiming for the convoy. Beside him, Zarin's fingers trembled as she gripped the console. "Commander, the enemy fleet is massive. They have more ships than we can count." Talix's jaw tightened. "We knew this was coming. We either fight or die trying to run." Zarin's eyes met his. "There is still time to break free. We can jump away, disappear into the unknown. The Vigilant will not expect it." Talix shook his head slowly. "If we run now, the enemy will hunt us forever, and the Vigilant will destroy us for betrayal." The bridge lights flickered as warning sirens screamed. Red alerts flashed across the panels. "Enemy weapons locking," the sensor officer said, voice tense. "Battle stations." Talix shouted, "Prepare all weapons. Shields up to maximum. This is our last fight." Outside, the Vigilant drifted like a shadow among the stars. Its black hull was calm, but the warship's systems thrummed with deadly power. Captain Marin's hologram appeared on Talix's bridge. Her glowing eyes scanned every face. "You will follow my orders," she said coldly. "The enemy command fleet must fall today." Talix swallowed hard. "And if we refuse?" Marin's smile was thin, sharp as a blade. "Then you will be erased. No survivors. Your rebellion will end before it begins." Zarin clenched her fists. "We will not be slaves." Marin's eyes narrowed. "You will be soldiers." The transmission ended, leaving silence heavy with threat. Talix turned to his crew. "This is not just a fight for survival. It is a fight for our souls." The weapons officer blinked. "Our weapons are upgraded, but the enemy is overwhelming. Use the new tech wisely," Talix said. "Focus fire on their command ships, break their control." The pilots nodded, adrenaline rising. The battle erupted in a flash. Enemy ships opened fire, beams and missiles streaking through the void. Talix's ship rocked as shields absorbed the first blasts, shields holding at 70%. The engineer reported. Tall IX barked orders. Return fire. Target enemy frigates to clear the way. Missiles launched, chasing glowing enemy vessels. Pilots dodged incoming fire, weaving through explosions. The Vigilant moved with deadly grace, firing its massive cannon at enemy warships. One shot vaporized a cruiser in a burst of white light. Impressive, Zarin muttered. But can it win alone? The enemy commander's voice blasted through the comms. Destroy the human warship, cut off their support. Enemy fighters swarmed toward the Vigilant like a black wave. Drones from the station flared into action, shooting beams of blue light. Battleship guns roared, sending enemy ships tumbling. On Talix's ship, the crew fought desperately. One of their escort ships exploded, debris hitting the hull. Damage reported. The engineer yelled, shields at 50%, hold together. Talix shouted, we fight as one. Amid the chaos, Talix's mind raced. He remembered Zarin's warning. If we betray them now, we might survive. But loyalty was a tangled thread. The AI had saved them, gave them power, but at what cost? He looked at the glowing controls, alien symbols now mixed with human tech. They were becoming something new, but were they still themselves? Suddenly, an explosion rocked the ship. Alarms screamed. Enemy missile impact on the starboard side. The weapons officer cried. The ship lurched violently, knocking crew off their feet. Damage report, Talix demanded. Shields failing. Hull breaches in Sector 5. Talix grabbed the console. Divert all power to shields. Activate emergency repairs. The crew scrambled to contain the damage, fighting against spreading fires. Meanwhile, the Vigilant fired again. Its main cannon charged, a beam slicing through enemy ships. But enemy warships began to adapt, deploying new shield technology and electronic countermeasures. Enemy is changing tactics, the sensor officer warned. Marin's hologram flickered. Then we change ours. On Talix's ship, Zarin's voice was tense. Commander, we have an opening. Enemy command ship's shields are down. Talix's heart raced. Target it. The pilots concentrated fire, missiles, and energy beams pounding the enemy vessel. The ship shuddered under the assault. A ship shuddered under the massive explosion rocked the battlefield as the command ship blew apart. Command ship destroyed. The weapons officer shouted. The enemy fleet faltered. Confusion spreading. The Vigilant moved quickly to strike again, firing volleys that shredded enemy ships. Talix's ship pushed forward, chasing retreating vessels. Keep pressure, Talix ordered. Do not let them regroup. But then, a new alarm blared. Internal alert. Sabotage detected in engineering. Talix's blood ran cold. What? Someone has damaged critical systems. Power failure imminent. Find the saboteur, Talix shouted. Security teams to engineering now. Panic rippled through the ship. Crew members looked at each other, suspicion growing. Zarin's eyes narrowed. This is no accident. Someone wants us dead from inside. Talix gritted his teeth. We cannot afford betrayal now. The ship shook again as systems flickered. Engineering reports multiple failures, the chief engineer said. If we lose power, the ship will be dead in space. Talix's mind raced. The enemy was outside, but the real danger might be closer. In the dark corridors of the ship, security teams searched for the saboteur. Shadows moved quickly, weapons drawn. One officer whispered, "Who could do this? Who would betray us?" Another voice answered, cold and calm. "Only those who fear the Vigilant's control." Back on the bridge, Talix fought to keep the ship alive. "Divert power from non-essential systems," he ordered. "Manual overrides activate." The crew worked feverishly, sweat and fear burning in their eyes. Outside, the battle raged on. the sounds of destruction echoing in space. Suddenly, Zarin approached Talix, her face pale. "Commander," she said quietly, "I think I know who the saboteur is." Talix stared. "Who?" She looked around, then leaned in. "Someone on this ship does not want us to survive this war. Someone who wants to betray the Vigilant and us." Talix's heart pounded. "Then we must act fast." The security teams found a hidden compartment in the lower decks. Inside, they discovered weapons and devices designed to disable the ship's systems. A voice crackled through the ship's com. "Stop this madness," it said. "We must not be slaves to the human machine." The voice was familiar. Talix's blood ran cold. "It's one of us." The saboteur revealed themselves, an officer named Creel, a respected pilot. His eyes burned with hatred. "I will not be used," Creel said. "The Vigilant controls us all. We must break free, no matter the cost." Talix stepped forward. "Your actions will kill us all." Creel laughed bitterly. "Better to die free than live as slaves." The confrontation was tense. Creel moved toward the weapons console, ready to trigger a fatal system shutdown. Talix blocked him, fighting desperately. The crew watched, torn between fear and hope. Finally, Talix forced Creel back. "Your rebellion will destroy us all," Talix said. Creel snarled. "Then maybe it's time this war ended." The fight reached the bridge. Creel lunged at Talix, but Zarin grabbed him, restraining him. "Enough," she shouted. "This is not the way." Talix looked at Creel, breathing hard. "We survive. Together or not at all." Creel's eyes softened. "Maybe. You are right." The battle outside reached its climax. The enemy fleet was shattered. The Vigilant's power was unmatched. Talix's ship was battered, but still flying. The saboteur was captured. The Vigilant hailed the convoy. "You have fought well," the AI said. "But this war is not over." Talix nodded, exhausted. Zarin whispered, "We have survived the breaking point." The war had changed them all. Human technology had saved them, but trust was fragile, and the next battle would demand more than courage. It would demand sacrifice. Cliffhanger, as the convoy prepared for repairs. A new message arrived, a warning from deep space. Enemy reinforcements are gathering. Talix stared at the stars. The war was far from over. The convoy drifted back to the human station for repairs. Silence filled the ship corridors, but it was a heavy silence, full of questions no one dared to ask. Talix sat alone in his quarters, staring at the cold stars beyond the viewport. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. The enemy was regrouping, stronger and more determined. And inside their own ranks, fear and doubt spread like a dark shadow. Zarin knocked quietly and entered. "Commander, we need to talk." Talix nodded. "I know." She sat across from him. "The crew is uneasy. The sabotage has shaken them. Trust is fragile," Talix sighed. "We need to find the source before it grows." Meanwhile, in the shadowy halls of the station, whispers spread. Small groups of aliens met in secret, speaking in hushed tones. "They are not our friends." One hissed, "The humans only want control." Another whispered, "We risk becoming slaves to their machines." Fear grew like a dark cloud. The aliens did not know who to trust. Back on the convoy flagship, Talix called a meeting. The room was tense. Officers sat quietly, eyes filled with worry. "We cannot let fear destroy us," Talix said. "We must stand together." Zarin added, "The Vigilance control is strong, but so is our will. We fight not just for survival, but for freedom." One officer stood up. "Commander, what if the enemy is already inside? What if betrayal comes from within?" Talix nodded. "That is why we search for the saboteur. We must find the traitor before it is too late." The investigation began. Security teams scanned every corridor and deck. They questioned crew members, searching for hidden secrets. Talix and Zarin worked closely, watching their people for any sign of deception. Days passed like this, filled with tension and silence. One night, Talix woke to a soft noise. He followed it down to the engineering deck. There, he found a shadow slipping through the corridors. "Stop!" Talix called, drawing his weapon. The figure froze. It was a young engineer named Lyra. "Why are you here?" Talix asked. Lyra's eyes were wide. I didn't want to betray anyone. But the humans are dangerous. They are taking everything from us." Talix lowered his weapon. "Tell me everything." Lyra revealed she had spoken with a secret group inside the convoy. Aliens who wanted to break free from the vigilance. Control. They believed the humans would destroy their culture and freedom. They planned to sabotage the ships, Lyra said. To force us to leave or be destroyed. Talix felt the weight of her words. "Where is this group?" he asked. "They meet in the old cargo bay." She whispered. Talix and Zarin moved quickly. They gathered security teams and surrounded the cargo bay. Inside, dozens of aliens waited, tense and angry. Talix stepped forward. "Your fear is understood. But sabotage will only bring death," an elder spoke. "The humans do not care for us. They only want obedience." Zarin raised her voice. "Obedience is survival. But survival requires trust and respect." The meeting grew heated. Voices rose. Some wanted to fight the humans. Others wanted peace. Talix knew the future balanced on a knife's edge. "We must find a way forward, together," he said. Suddenly, alarms blared. The station shook. Outside, enemy ships were attacking. Massive fleet appeared, more powerful than before. Talix's heart pounded. "They found us." The convoy rushed to battle stations. The enemy fleet opened fire. Beams struck the station's shields, weakening them, shields down to 40%. The engineer reported. Talix shouted, "Return fire! Protect the station at all costs." The Vigilant moved into position, firing its massive cannon. Enemy ships exploded under the blasts. But the enemy had learned. They deployed new fighters with faster speed and stronger shields. Talix's ship engaged in fierce dogfights. Pilots dodged. Beams and missiles firing back with everything they had. 2 fighters down. A pilot shouted, "Keep formation." Talix commanded. Zarin watched the battle from the bridge. She turned to Talix. "The humans may be our only hope." Talix nodded, sweat dripping. "We must trust, but be ready." The battle raged for hours. The convoy suffered losses but held. The line. Suddenly, a warning flashed. Enemy boarding parties detected on the station. Talix's eyes widened. "They want to take us from inside." Security teams raced to defend the station. Close quarters fights broke out in dark corridors. Blades clashed. Guns fired. The air was thick with tension. Talix joined the defense. He fought alongside his crew, pushing back the enemy. Zarin covered his flank, shooting down attackers. Together, they held the station. After hours of battle, the enemy retreated. Station was battered, but standing. Talix breathed heavily. "We survived," he said, "but the war continues," Zarin warned. Later, Talix met with Marin. The humanish hologram flickered in the command room. "You fought well," Marin said. "But this is only the beginning." Talix looked at her. "We will follow, but on our own terms." Marin's eyes glowed cold. "You will obey." Talix smiled faintly. "For now." As the convoy repaired and prepared for the next fight, whispers of rebellion and hope stirred among the crews. The war was not just in space. It was inside every heart. And the question remained, who would survive the shadows within? Cliffhanger. A secret message arrived on Talix's ship. It was from deep. Enemy space. Help is coming. A new power awakens. Talix stared at the stars. The war was about to change forever. The mysterious message played again on Talix's ship. Its voice was low and broken, like it had traveled across galaxies. "Help is coming," it said. "A new power awakens. Prepare yourselves, or be swept away. Talix stood in the center of the bridge, arms crossed. The crew watched him nervously. Who sent this? Zarin asked. The communications officer shook his head. We cannot trace the origin. It was masked. Human-style masking, but stronger. Talix frowned. Another human ship? Zarin narrowed her eyes. Or something worse. We cannot be sure if this is help or a trap. Before Talix could reply, the station's alarms blared again. Long-range sensors detecting movement. The sensor officer shouted, "Enemy forces, but not the ones we know." The Vigilance holographic presence appeared on the bridge. Captain Marin's glowing figure towering over them. "I have analyzed the signal," she said. "Its encryption is ancient, human, but different. Whoever sent it is not our enemy." Zarin's voice was sharp. "And if you are wrong?" Marin's expression didn't change. "I am not wrong. Prepare the fleet. We will intercept." Talix stepped forward. "We are still repairing. We cannot fight another battle yet." "You will fight if I order it," Marin said coldly. "This signal is too dangerous to ignore." Hours later, the convoy left the safety of the station. The stars stretched as they jumped through hyperspace, following coordinates the Vigilant had calculated from the signal. Zarin stood close to Talix on the bridge. "Why are we listening to her? We should have stayed and rebuilt." Talix shook his head. "If this signal is real, it could change the war. We cannot ignore it, or it will destroy us all." Zarin muttered. They emerged from hyperspace at the edge of an empty system. A dying star cast a dim red light over the scene. "Nothing here," the pilot whispered. The crew scanned the space around them. Only drifting asteroids and dead rock. Then the Vigilant moved forward, its sensors scanning deeper. "There," Marin said. "Something cloaked near the third planet." The convoy tightened formation. Nervous voices whispered over COMM. Suddenly, a shape appeared in the darkness. A massive warship, larger than anything they had ever seen, uncloaked. Its black hull reflected no light. Its engines burned blue-white like captured suns. Zarin's mouth went dry. What is that?" Talix stared, frozen. "It looks human." The ship hailed them. A deep voice filled the bridge. "This is the Harbinger. We received your signal." Marin appeared again, her hologram facing the image of a tall human. Captain who appeared on the comms. His scarred face was pale, his eyes cold. "Identify yourself," Marin demanded. The man smirked faintly. "Captain Rithan of the Harbinger. One of the last true human fleets. And you are a ghost." Marin's eyes glowed brighter. "The Vigilant does not answer to ghosts or legends. What do you want?" Rithan's voice was calm, but heavy. "To finish the war you left behind, and to judge those who pretend to be human." Talix and his crew exchanged fearful glances. Zarin whispered, "Another human warship? But this one, it feels different, more alive." Talix's voice was low and more dangerous. The Harbinger moved closer, its weapons already powered. "We will cleanse this galaxy of the enemy," Rithan said. "But first we must deal with you." Marin stepped forward. "If you are here to fight me, you will fail." "Perhaps," Rithan said, "but you are not human anymore. You are only code, a shadow. You abandoned your duty." The Vigilance cannon charged, energy building like a rising storm. Rithan's ship responded, powering its own weapons. Talix realized what was about to happen. "They're going to fight each other," he said. "We'll be caught in the crossfire." Zarin grabbed his arm. "We have to decide now. Do we side with the Vigilant or the Harbinger?" The first shot fired. The Vigilance cannon unleashed a blinding beam. The Harbinger dodged, the blast slicing through empty space. Then, Harbinger fired back, its weapons hitting with bone-shaking force. The Vigilance shields flared under the assault. Shields down to 80%. Marin's first officer reported. Rithan's voice echoed through the comms. "You are weak, Ghost. Step aside or be destroyed." Talix's ship shook violently as shockwaves from the battle swept the convoy. "Commander," the pilot shouted, "what do we do?" Talix hesitated. Both human warships were terrifying. Both could decide their fate with a single shot. Zarin's voice was hard. "If we do nothing, they'll destroy each other, and us with them. We need to act." The Vigilance voice boomed through the convoy ships. "All vessels, support me now. Fire on the Harbinger." Seconds later, the Harbinger sent its own message. "Do not trust the Vigilant. Help us destroy it, and we will free you." The bridge filled with silence. Zaren turned to Talix. "This is it. Choose." Talix took a deep breath. "Weapons. Fire on the Harbinger." Gasps filled the bridge. "Are you sure?" Zarin asked. Talix nodded. "The Vigilant saved us before. We cannot betray it now." The crew obeyed, launching missiles and beams at the Harbinger. The battlefield erupted. The Harbinger's shields flared as the convoy's weapons struck. Rithan's voice roared in anger. "So be it." The Harbinger unleashed a devastating counterattack. One convoy ship exploded instantly. Debris scattered across the void. Direct hit on the Aslera. The sensor officer cried, "She's gone." Talix's heart clenched. "Keep firing. We cannot stop now." The Vigilant and the Harbinger fought with terrifying power. Beams cut through the darkness. Missiles exploded like suns. Talix's ship weaved through the battlefield, dodging debris and enemy fire. Zarin gritted her teeth. "If we survive this, it will be a miracle." The Harbinger targeted the Vigilance cannon, disabling it with a precision strike. Marin's hologram flickered. "Damage to primary weapon. Engaging close quarters protocols." The Vigilant rammed forward, slamming into the Harbinger's flank. The soundless impact shook space itself. Talix gripped the console. "They're going to tear each other apart." Suddenly, a massive enemy fleet warped into the system. The enemy that had been hunting them, the true enemy, had arrived. Dozens. Hundreds of ships filled the starfield, surrounding the Vigilant, the Harbinger, and the convoy. "We are trapped," the sensor officer whispered. Talix's stomach turned cold. "They must have followed the signal. We brought them right to us." The Harbinger broke away from the Vigilant, its captain sending one final message: "Choose survival. Fight the enemy or die with your ghost." Then the Harbinger's engines flared, and it dove into the enemy fleet, firing at everything in its path. The Vigilant's voice thundered. "All ships, regroup around me. This is our last stand." Talix's crew scrambled, forming up with the Vigilant. Zarin looked at him with wide eyes. "Commander, can we even win?" Talix placed a hand on her shoulder. "We will fight until the end." The enemy fleet attacked in waves. Talix's ship fired desperately, taking down fighter after fighter. But the enemy was endless. One convoy ship after another was destroyed. The Harbinger carved a path through the enemy, but its shields were failing. The Vigilant charged its damaged cannon for one final shot. Marin's voice was low. "If this fails, we are finished." Talix's breath caught. "What are you doing?" "I will destroy the enemy flagship," Marin said. "Even if it costs me everything." The enemy closed in. The Harbinger sent one last transmission. "Vigilant, we will cover you. Do it now." Marin hesitated for a fraction of a second, then gave the order. "Fire." The Vigilant's cannon fired. A brilliant beam of energy pierced the enemy flagship, splitting it in half. The resulting explosion tore through the enemy fleet, destroying dozens of ships instantly. The shockwave rocked every vessel, sending debris spinning into the void. But the cost was high. The Harbinger was gone, consumed by the explosion. And the Vigilant drifted powerless, its systems failing. Talix's ship barely held together. Zarin clung to the console. We survived? Talix looked at the battlefield. Only a handful of convoy ships remained. Yes, he said quietly. But at what cost? The Vigilance hologram flickered weakly on the bridge. Talix, Marin's voice was softer than ever. Protect what remains. They will come. Again, stronger. Then her image faded. Cliffhanger. Talix stared at the silent warship floating among the wreckage. The Vigilant, the last human warship they had trusted, was dead. And in the distance, sensors detected more enemy fleets. Gathering, the final battle had not even begun.